Right, I'm in late this Sunday to get these two units wrapped up ready for the customers. I've been delayed with a few little configuration issues. Both units, the Sega versus Nintendo and the Friday the 13th cabinet is all ready. I have to send the customer a ground loop isolator for this one, because the one I had that was meant to be for this machine, that also needed sent back. So this is all configured, ready to go. Like I say, I'll send the isolator to the customer, simple install. You just put your audio connector straight into it. It's quite dark in this room. The lighting's not very good, but the graphics are cool as hell. You've got all your Jason Voorhees designs and artwork. I've went with a more comic book theme for this cabinet, and with the Jason mask, you've got your customized Friday the 13th Jason grills, also Jason mask dust covers. This is running a 128 gig Raspberry Pi with 18,000 plus retro games, from Daphne, Dreamcast, Game & Watch, Mega Drive, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, few Game Boy hacks, few SNES hacks. I believe this unit also has the mini NES games on there as well, system on there, PlayStation 1. So all the controllers are configured for likes of Mega Drive and SNES. So you'll have your A, B, C, X, Y, Z, or I think it's A, B, X, Y, L, R, or the other way around I think was on the SNES, A, B, X, Y, L, R. So we do a simple search. I usually, when I do a test, I go on a fighting game like Street Fighter. As for this unit's all complete. The customer wanted added Wii games because this is a 3 terabyte higher end hyperspin system. He didn't want too much of the next gen fighters, so he wanted a lot more Wii games and Wii U. So I managed to load over 100 and something Wii games, all configured with the controllers, also ready for Xbox 360 controllers, and also Wii U games. I tried picking out the best Wii U games to try and fill up the space that was left on the hard drive. But there's about 50 plus Wii U games there. If we go into a couple of next gen titles, next to Street Fighter 5.
Loading complete.
Don't know what's the matter with this ROM. It doesn't seem to have the backgrounds in it. I've turned off the amp because there's a buzz. Obviously it needs a ground loop isolator that I was talking about before installed on this, because there's interference obviously when it's running games and stuff, so it needs a ground loop isolator like this machine does. I'll quit that because I've got this currently connected online and I don't like it connected online at the moment, so I'll quit that game. That game loads perfectly fine.
Peggy 16.
Obviously the game will update then and mess up the crack that's for that game, and then you'll end up with an unworking game or certain things. I think the update messes it up right up, but I'll disable the internet off this before I wrap it up. But it's network capabilities for adding new PC games, working with C360 X360 CE. That's how I usually configure these controllers up, is with that, but it requires a network connection to first initial setup. Then I just put my usual button layouts, which is Xbox 360 A, B, X, Y, LB, RB, left trigger, right trigger, start, select. Go back to this unit. So like I was saying, some reason this ROM on this system, you haven't got the background. I think the previous ROM on this system as well didn't work at all, so this is an actual step up to this actual ROM. But there's other Street Fighters on there for the Mega Drive, there's other Street Fighters for the SNES which work perfectly fine. So you've got your light kick, medium kick, hard kick, light kick, medium kick, hard kick, light punch, medium punch, hard punch. So select and start to exit. I've also added the center button as a power button, so that will shut down and start up the machine. I haven't added it as a hotkey, so be careful if kids are playing, just make sure they don't hit it every time they're trying to play a game. But you have your selected start, which exits a game. You hold your select, I think, and press that top button, and that will go into your retro arch settings, and you can change and mess around with configs, and if you wish, don't recommend it, but you can add bezels and stuff. And so if we go back, I think it's that one. So like I say, we have different versions of Street Fighter. I have the arcade version on there, all works perfectly fine. Has the Super Nintendo, there's a SNES Mini Classic, NES Classic Mini, and then you have obviously the SNES Hacks, then you have the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, which has all the games on there. So we'll do a quick search. I usually go to T and go from T to get Street Fighter. So on the system, like I say, it plays next gen titles. It's all higher end gaming system. This one's 3 terabyte. We do an 8 terabyte, which I'm also currently trying to update with Techno Parrot. I'm just trying to find the time to sit down, set up Sega Ring Edge, get all the menus set up and everything, but because I'm so busy with other projects and stuff, it's just getting the time to sit down and configure it. I am going to try and create for customers, existing customers, online database, basically online cloud account, so customers can go on there, download the updates, copy and paste them over, and then them systems and new games and stuff like that will all be configured on the customer systems. So with RetroArch on Street Fighter games, having to configure this on the Raspberry Pi, usually when you set up your controllers, your A, B, X, Y, L, R, and sometimes on the Mega Drive, when it comes to the config, the default configs are all over the place. So you'll have a punch up there, a kick there. So I've had to go in, configure them. So like I say, it's A, B, C, X, Y, Z, A, B, X, Y, L, R. so when you're in the game, games like Street Fighter are perfect for it. You know that they're set up correctly because you'll have your light punch, medium punch, hard punch, light kick, medium kick, hard kick. So, like I say, exit that. Like I say, that's got 18,000 plus games on the system, 128 gig. Tons and tons and tons of systems on there. Quite a nice menu. I was going to add the comic book theme to this because I like that theme, but I ended up opting out because I think a couple of the menus weren't exactly right for a couple of the system setups. So this one seemed to have it all. But I will look into that and update that myself and add the menus and systems for the comic book theme. So, but like I say, that's it for that one. You have the power button there, and that should shut down the machine on there. And back to this one. Done all the custom grills for the back. Custom dust covers. So you have your punches, your kicks, the top buttons, which I've configured as your grabs, your double button presses, and you have your them two button presses for that, and them two button presses for that. So obviously when you're playing arcade, on the arcade sticks it can get difficult pressing both buttons in at once and pulling out the moves exactly, so I've just configured them to use them two as double button presses. Makes it easier to pull out some combos and that. So I haven't got a lot of time to work on getting these packaged up, but I'm going to try and get them all packaged up, get it all booked into for collection tomorrow. I have 2 large pallets which I have to cut down and get them sent off. I need addresses from some customers. So you have games like Crash Bandicoot, Insane Trilogy.
Loading complete.
Activision presents
So with Crash Bandicoot, no one's been able to set it up before. It's I've had to use X-Padder with this. It wouldn't configure as an Xbox controller for some reason. So I used X-Padder as the left click and keyboard buttons and mouse buttons, and that got a escape button there, I believe. Oh, that's a start and that's escape. But I haven't auto exit the game with that button on the side, so I can just exit the whole game by hitting the button on the side. Also have main 4 players. I have set up controllers, but the customer wanted a specific type of controller, so I'm going to give him a call when he gets his machine. I'll send him his other controllers off, and then I'll talk him through getting it all set up. On this unit we do offer installment fee for the amp in the front of the machine, because there's a lot more wiring and a lot more hassle of getting everything arranged with the wiring in the side and stuff, making it all nice cable friendly and tidy and stuff. yeah, we, like I say, we charge I think £50 for the installment in the front. Then I think with that you'll get the extra buttons on the side also, extra LED buttons, all the extra wiring and harnessing and stuff. Like I say, when I test machines, I usually go for the Street Fighter games. But I have been through each and every system, make sure each and every system loads, the controls load. Obviously not every game in the system is configured how the customers may like, but it's how I would like it. Yeah, I mean, you could want for Killer Instinct certain button presses, Mortal Kombat especially, block and runs, usually centre buttons on the arcade format, and then you have your punches and your kicks, but I do like them punch, kick, and block, run. But I have them set up the arcade format. If they wish to change them, they can. On this, I've had to set it to read only for the config file for MAME, so you would have to Control Alt Delete out of that, turn off the read only, reconfigure the controls for that system, that game, and then set that config file back to read only. Only because if there's other controllers and that which this machine's going to end up having, other controllers added to it, it can end up messing the buttons up, changing the controls and configs and stuff like that. So I set it to that so they can't be messed with now, unless the customer goes in and changes them himself. So you have your 3 punches, light, medium and hard, 3 kicks, same on player 2, and then you have your exit button on the side. Exit button, go back. Same with pinball games, you would have to exit out of the pinball game, like you would a PC game. I do have the hyper spin menu for the Pinball FX2. I have got on my 8TB Pinball FX3 and Remove 2 because you've got the same tables on there. I don't mind the wheel menu. I don't see the need for it really for the game. You can go in and select the table. Some people like to select them, go on and select the table, load straight into the table and exit straight out. Because the way I've got the certain controls set up, I've got the start button there. I've got it set up like an Xbox 360 controller with the triggers set for the sides, but I've got these both controllers linked as one controller for the pinball, so I can use the player 2 controls as triggers. So that's all set up. Obviously left and right flipper. You have your A button as your launch, and your left and right side buttons for your flippers. Then I would press start, then I would just exit the main menu. Then I'd select another table if I wanted, and then just quit. To be honest, it's probably worth just setting up it as one main system instead of having all the different menus like there is on there. That's it for the cabinets. Like I say, we have the Friday the 13th cabinet all set up, and I'll be taking pictures of that unit now, and I'll be taking pictures of this unit just as content. Even though I've done a couple of these units, it's always best to take some content pics and get them posted up on social media. But that's it. Right.